On this week's episode of the Books, Booze, and BS podcast, we discuss The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. We also discuss What's Your Roman Empire and our toxic reading habits. Happy listening. Welcome to this week's episode. I am joined today by Kimberly, Brendan, and Lynn, and we'll be discussing The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Let's start with what is everyone drinking tonight? I will start with Brendan because I think it was a very lengthy journey to get what you were drinking.
So I am drinking a glass of Sancerre, which is very common in my hands. Although, unfortunately, I had a bad shipment from one of my favorite wineries. And for some reason, it was like 4 bottles and they were all kind of skunked. So basically just opened like one after the other. I'm like, try this one. But finally got the Goldilocks glass. So I'm very excited. It's not Taylor Swift's one, although I do have that in my wine fridge, but it's still one of my favorites.
I think that Taylor Swift one's like sold out everywhere now.
Oh, yeah.
That's such a stressful night for you, though. You really want a glass of wine and one after the other? I am so sorry.
And like,
well, hopefully the rest of tonight goes better.
And like the ones that he was drinking, like they were like a special shipment. Like you could only get them through like being like a member of the winery. So
what's the winery?
It's Henri Bourgeois.
Ooh.
And we have been there a couple times. And the last time we went, we actually had the same person who was our pourer. And as the first time we went, and she was so nice. Her name was Amelie. I would definitely adopt her to my family if I could. But she was like, we have a special mailing list. And they literally every quarter, they're like, hey, we have this special batch. So you just kind of pick how many bottles you want and it gets shipped to your house.
Yeah,
that's
the thing about France is that they don't charge for their wine tastings. And I probably had 16 different wines the last time we were there. Like to the point like Brendan drove to like the winery area of Sancerre, and like we could only go to 2 wineries because we had so many samples at the second one.
That just honestly sounds like a great time and very economic. See, you can't afford not to go to France.
Exactly.
Kimberly, what are you drinking this evening?
Well, you know I'm always going to come with the non-alcoholic drink for all the listeners that maybe don't partake. So I'm doing an Olipop, and it is peaches and cream flavored.
Does it taste like the Group 112?
Totally does. Man, you just took me way back with that song. I used to blast that out of, the big speaker in my car. Wow, I just dated myself too. Thanks.
Pretty sure there are many mixed CDs in my car when Lynn and I would drive around in high school also blaring that song.
Yep. It was usually ludicrous, let's be real.
That's true.
That was another fan favorite, yes.
I will say, though, Dance With Me is superior to Peaches and Cream. Hot take.
That is a hot take, but I also
like
that song.
I'm going to have to disagree. Peaches and Cream, it just reminds me of, what was it, 2001?
Yep.
Yeah.
Awkward times.
And Lynn, what are you drinking this evening?
So I am on the other end of the spectrum as you can get from Brendan and Kimberly. I am celebrating the fact I'm going to be in Mexico in less than a week with a margarita with a salt rim.
Where are you going in Mexico?
Tulum.
Awesome.
For a week. Actually, the same resort that you guys went to for my sister's wedding.
Oh, wow.
So we're heading back there. Yeah.
Is it just you and Jesse, or is it the fam going?
So it's actually a group of friends. So the Sandys and their kids and the Aguirres.
Excellent. Well, that should be fun. We're actually going to St. Martin at the end of the month, so everyone getting those nice tropical vacations in.
Absolutely. And it's nice that we're bringing other kids, because I have learned that if I bring other children, they watch my kid. Little parenting hack out there.
And I am drinking a beer called Ghost from Dudleytown Brewing, which is in Windsor.
Now, did you have to go to the brewery for that one, or was that at a local package store?
It was at CT BevMart. I think I was in there buying something else. It was there like every month they have a brewery that's like $2 off all their 4-packs, and it was that one. I was like, I guess I'll give it a shot. pretty
Yeah,
good.
it's a good brewery.
And I've seen pictures of it. It looks nice, but I haven't been there yet. But that's more towards our hometown neck of the woods.
Yes, yeah. I used to work in Windsor, so I spent a lot of. Yeah, I used to work in your building, so I spent a lot of time in that area.
All right, treat of the week. I know Lynn made it. Kimberly, I'm assuming you didn't because you usually say no.
I did not. Way to call me out.
But did it sound good to you at least?
It did sound good. I love anything lemon flavored. So yeah, it did sound really good.
Lynn, what were your thoughts?
So I thought it was delicious. The cookies by themselves really kind of stood on their own, but let me tell you, I had a fiasco making that icing. I think that the measurements were off.
So you
Adding
need
a
more liquid.
whole, so I had so much liquid. Adding the whole lemon created it was just sauce. I think I had to add 4.5 cups of powdered sugar. So I just made way too much and I just kept adding and mixing and adding and mixing. And it was still super running when I finally was like, this is good enough. This is good enough. But yeah, I'd recommend just going for like make these cookies. They're so good. They could easily stand on their own. But I would either roll them in powdered sugar right before you bake them, so they kind of get that nice crispy crust on it, or go with a completely different lemon glaze because I needed measurements of the lemon juice evidently.
And
How about you?
go ahead.
I was going to say, how about you, Mike? Did you struggle like I struggled?
The glaze I did fine with. I just had to add a little more liquid, so it was kind of the opposite of yours. But I had issues with the bake on my first batch. Like I
Oh
actually
no.
I made some for a friend for his birthday, and like the first batch came out of the oven. I was like, well, shit, these look like shit. And then the second batch came out fine. I was like, okay, maybe I overcrowded the pans in the first batch. Maybe I don't know. Just Brendan saw it. The first ones looked nightmarish, but the second ones looked like actual cookies.
So they did spread a lot. Was that the issue?
Yes,
Ah, yeah.
but they tasted good.
Yeah, I only did not because I saw how much yours spread, to be perfectly honest. I cheated off of you. So I only put 9 per cookie tray. And so they had plenty of room to really spread out. But yeah, they spread a lot, which you kind of want them to. That kind of thin, chewy, a little bit crispy on the edges. It was so good.
Yep. So for our listeners, put very limited cookies on your cookie sheet.
Yes.
The recipe also makes more than what the yield is in the recipe.
Yes. Yeah, trying to think. I think I made about 30 something.
Yeah, mine was 30.
Yeah.
Brendan, your thoughts on the taste? No,
I thought they were delightful, and even though the ones spread out too much, they were very thin and chewy. So it even though I kind of took that first one and kind of made a ball of it, it was quite tasty.
Yeah, I think that was key. That was chewy because I know you have a thing about thin and crispy cookies. Not your favorite.
I like cookies with the chew. I don't like when they're too dry.
Like the calf cookies at work.
Yes, those are actually good. And today was our dreaded free lunch day, which I know many people are like, but that's great. But no, it's not, because the cafeteria is always a nightmare on free lunch day. Because it's the one day where people are like, oh, I guess I'll come into the office. So
It's like the scene in Mean Girls when Regina just throws the papers from the burn book in the air. There's one day I walked through the cafe and it was crazy, and I was walking with a couple of my coworkers, and I started playing the Missy Elliott song out of my phone. They
But
appreciated that.
Brendan, I'm going to support you. I feel like when it's thin and just it has that almost snap to it, it's too dry.
right.
So, what was the best thing everyone ate last week? Kimberly.
Oh man. What did I even do last week? I'm not even kidding. I really can't even think. What did I eat last week?
Didn't you go out for a work dinner or?
Oh, I did. I did. Thank you. Yes, my VP was in the office visiting last week, and we went to a restaurant here in Knoxville called Connor's, and I got chicken parm. And what's hilarious is this is a steak and seafood restaurant. That's their primary, and I got chicken parm, and it was the best chicken parm I think I've ever had in my life.
Got to speak for the rest of the menu then if the thing they're not known for is that good.
Right?
Yeah,
And
that's
then
impressive.
as a side, I got Asiago spinach, which was also delicious.
Especially, I
Solid
feel like
order.
chicken parm is one of those things that you have just as a default at so many places. So when someone says it's the best I've had, I'm like, ooh, I'm intrigued because I know you probably had a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, and also the portion size ridiculous too. I mean, it was 2 meals, so that also is always nice. So super good.
And a lot can go wrong with chicken parm too, though, because
Agree.
it's a default, but some places are just like, no, that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, it's like eating a loaf of bread.
Or like when the chicken's way too thick and like it gets like that weird texture.
Oh yeah, like gummy. Yeah.
Ugh.
I know. This was like perfectly. It was a thick piece of chicken, but it was so juicy and tender. It was phenomenal.
Would you say it was moist?
I would say that. I don't get annoyed by that word, Mike.
Lynn, best food.
So I had a play date for my son this weekend. We went to a house in Manchester, Connecticut, which was kind of the coolest house I've ever been to. It was really interesting construction where you turn a corner thinking that it's a closet and there's like a whole nother wing of the house. The people that own it are really interesting, fun people, very hippie, very natural. The wife is Chinese and she has the tick-borne disease where she can't have anything from mammals. Like she can't even be in the room where meat was cooked. It's
Oh,
severe. She can't have processed sugar. She can't have alcohol because a lot of them are treated with gelatins. Like it's severe. So she cooked us lunch and it was like the most like amazing lunch I've ever had. It was this like Napa Valley shiitake mushroom dish, this Chinese omelet that was incredible. There was asparagus, there were beans, there were potatoes. It was so good. And her two little toddlers, who are the same age as my son, sat down, drank their water, ate all the food, so happy. My son took one look and was like, no, I'm not, this is not chicken nuggets and french fries. I'm out. Started screaming, laid down, screaming that he was hungry and wouldn't eat the food. So we had to exit pretty quickly.
so you like it would be like if Brendan was there. Just kidding. But he doesn't like mushrooms. That's why I said it. Brendan, best bite.
So for me, I would say it's probably the most unexpected best bite of the week. And I don't know if I'm stealing yours, so I apologize if I am. But on Saturday night, we went to a restaurant called Marketplace, and there was what I believe to be an extremely inappropriate dessert option for the season
Mm-hmm.
because it was a pumpkin tres leches, which I'm not anti-pumpkin. It just feels like in January, that's not pumpkin
We're
time
past
anymore.
that, yeah.
But one, it wasn't too pumpkiny, but it almost had this salted caramel like crunch on the bottom. Like I don't even know how to describe it. It was like a crunchy syrup. Like I don't understand. And maybe it just had too much wine, but it was phenomenal. And we were all like, you just need to rename this the salted caramel and just have it year round because it was that good.
That sounds amazing. Where is Marketplace?
It's on the Berlin Turnpike. Do you know where the Best Buy is?
Yes, yeah.
So they built like a new, like, for lack of better words, a strip mall there, and it's one of the new restaurants in there.
Ooh, good to know.
It
There
has
are a
like
bunch of others, but I don't know where. I think they're not as close to our area.
yeah, I think they're all like in like the Fairfield County side.
Oh, so local chain.
Yes. I will say the pumpkin tres leches is up there, but also we got deviled eggs for an appetizer, and they were pretty good deviled eggs.
Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah. We were watching our friends get a crab cake, and I'm like, I don't want that. I do want some deviled eggs, though.
Of course you did.
And of course, it's like $13 for like 2 eggs, like 4 halves, but like it's like, oh, how am I paying $13 to have 4 half eggs? They're delicious, though.
You could eat them in like 5 seconds, though.
Correct. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Brian and I were done within a minute. All right, so let's get into the book. So the Song of Achilles, we're going to go do our round table per usual. Did you enjoy it? Is there anything you didn't like about it? Do you have favorite sections or passages or quotes from the book? I'm going to go in the order of who I think liked it most, starting with Lynn.
Sure. Yeah. No, I did enjoy it, but that's kind of an easy one for me. I've always really liked Greek mythology. It started in like the middle school era, and then I went into like we had a few high school sessions on it. So I've responded well to Greek mythology. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how the author approached the different themes, loyalty being a huge one, that enduring link between Patroclus and Achilles really was a thread throughout the entire story. I loved the fate versus free will debate that was going on. It's really draws to, do we have free will, or is everything random? Is everything predetermined? Are all of your decisions set up in such a way that your fate is inevitable? Or can you really not be blamed for a bad decision because it was already foretold? And finally, just that cost of war, the lives that were ruined by Achilles trying to delay his fate, and the innocents that were murdered. It really put it out there. It did not glorify this war in any way, despite the fact that this is one of the huge wars that many stories have been written about. So I thought she did a amazing job at tying together a lot of really complex ideas and storylines. And you still, right at the end, are rooting for them to find a way to escape what is coming. The sexual tension and romance, I thought she did a great job at. I loved that developing romance. I love a slow burn with a payoff. I love that enemies to lovers type of scenario. I just read a book right before this where the sexual tension was it just lacked that sexual tension. It was so uncomfortable. Every scene made me wince and just viscerally hate it. So
What book
this
was
was
it?
it was The Christmas Trap. Did not enjoy that. I actually didn't finish it because it made me so uncomfortable. Whereas this, I felt like there was such good payoff. I was holding my breath during some of the early romantic scenes between them. So I did enjoy that passages. So to kind of tie into that, I could recognize him by touch alone, by smell. I would know him blind by the way he breathed. His breaths came. His feet struck the earth. I would know him in death and at the end of the world. It was just romantic, it was tragic, and it was foreshadowing. And it is right to seek peace for the dead. You and I both know that there is no peace for those who live after. I've shared here that I've been going through a bit of grief when I lost my dog, so that kind of spoke to me as well. And then finally, the way it ended, in darkness, two shadows reaching through hopeless, heavy dusk, their hands meet and light spills in a flood like 100 golden urns pouring out of the sun. That just moment of hope beyond their fate. There were a few things I didn't like. It was very romantic. I'm not really a heavy romance person. I want some sort of additional plot, some sort of epic battle, basically more conflict behind that kind of steady march to their deaths. And I was so uncomfortable with the sex scene between Patroclus and Achilles' pregnant wife. It was just so unnecessary. I get that they were trying to kind of shadow that they each have similar experiences and they're going through life together completely and sharing that. And they really have disinterest in anyone besides each other. But greasy, like that turned me off. I could not. I just did not enjoy that. So overall, I did enjoy this book. There were parts that I didn't like, but yeah, no, I'm glad I read it.
Excellent. I will go to, I think, liked it least next, and I will go to Kimberly.
Again, why is it you just want to call me out tonight, Mike? It's not that I disliked it, so I do want to just say that. I think I was struggling with some aspects of it. So, similar to Lynn, I love Greek mythology. I always have, and I think part of that may have driven some of how I felt about this because I was having a hard time separating the story I was already very familiar with and that I guess aspects of the story that Madeline threw in. One of those being that they're cousins. And so in my back of my mind, I'm like, "Oh, but they're related." And so I had to, like, sort of turn that part off that I knew of the story already so that I could, like, sink into the romance that was being written in the book, right? Beyond that, though, like, I think she did a, like, great job with the writing style, even I think some of the quotes that Lynn shared I have already sort of shown that off, right? That it's very lyrical in nature, very descriptive of the love story that was there as well. So all of that really appreciated. I did struggle a little bit too, which I mean, this is true of like the regular story as well, but I think both of the characters really couldn't get past their own pride at different points, and I felt like there was a very strong, like, pride, especially with Achilles, like, throughout the story, right? But even towards the end, Patroclus, like, you had him struggling with that as well, and ultimately, pride led to each of their downfalls, right? The other piece that I struggled with, which should come as, like, no shock, I think, is the treatment of women throughout, which isn't unexpected for the time period, right? I went in fully expecting that to be the case, but I think I was surprised by the way in which both of the main characters treated women as well. Achilles in the treatment of his wife first, right? Which I know he was tricked by his mother to a certain extent, but he also was, you know, he went along with it. Let's put it that way. And then to have gone along with it, produced a child, and then just turned his back as if it never happened. It's a little frustrated by that. Later, the way in which he treated Briseis, like she was just the means to an end to get what he wanted out of Agamemnon. Another part that I was really frustrated with. And then also, I don't know if you guys I would really love everybody's thought on this. So after Achilles and, he got married, the wife situation happened. Patroclus is there. What was that scene that happened with Patroclus and Achilles' wife?
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
What was that?
That's what I mentioned. The greasy scene I hated.
Like, because that came out of such left field for me. And then you just move on like it never happened. They never talked about it. He never fessed up to Achilles that he did it. And I'm just like, it was like this weird fever dream that happened. And I was just very, very confused by it. So,
And nor did like he have like any interest whatsoever in it. Like he had,
right. Exactly. Like he even early in the book, he said he never had interest whatsoever there. Like all of his like, guy friends he's growing up with, right? Like they all like would show their interest in the girls that were around and whatever. And he self, reflected and said, I never felt that. And then all of a sudden, you fast forward a few years, and then that happens with Achilles' wife, and I'm like, "Were you trying to get back at him? Were like, did you just wanna know what it was like?" Like, I don't know. I was just very, very confused by that.
It
Part of
felt
me,
very. Go on, Brendan.
oh, I was just say, part of me thought towards the end when the child showed up, I'm like, is it gonna look like Patroclus? I'm gonna say his name wrong every time, but I was like, I thought there would be some payoff from that story because I agree, fully agree. It was icky, but then there was nothing. I'm like, I thought there'd be some kind of like, oh, and he's actually your child. She wasn't pregnant at the time or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought was going on. I was like, oh, she's like either lost the baby or she was never pregnant to begin with. And this is her way of like giving herself a chance to like, you know, fix it or whatever. But then it just poof, gone. Like it never happened. And it was not his. So yeah, I was just very, very confused by that
Is
part of the
pointless.
story.
I took it as, so I agree. It felt very unnecessary. There were no consequences from it. You could have cut that scene from the book and it really would not have made an impact in any way to the plot. It just felt kind of thrown in there. I took it as a way to show more that they were two sides to the same soul. The experiences that they had were very much mirrored in each other. The battles that Achilles went into was mirrored by the last battle Patroclus went into. I took it as a way to kind of emphasize that they are one being, especially foreshadowing the end where they become one being.
Well, you took it deep, way deeper than I did.
Kimberly's just like, gross.
Well, and listen,
well, you get stuck at the cousins. I get it.
well, yeah, fair. That I did a little bit because again, having already familiarity with like the story, like that, it was harder for me to sink into it. I think had I had no backstory whatsoever, I don't think I would have had as much trouble. I mean, I still would have struggled with the whole wife thing because that one I still like. I get what you're saying, but I don't know. Just
Well, and now they're cousin Eskimo brothers.
Ew. No me gusta. See, I'm practicing my Spanish.
Anyway, so for quotes, I'll get us back on track. I had the same one that Lynn did from the end, like in the darkness, two shadows reaching through the hopeless heavy dusk. Their hands meet and light spills into a flood like 100 golden urns pouring out of the sun. Like, I loved that quote too. I thought it was very poetic, a great way to like wrap it up. The other ones that I wrote down, I don't know, maybe I was like in my feelings because the other two quotes that I wrote down were, and perhaps it is the greater grief after all to be left on earth when another is gone. And the other I wrote down was, when I am dead, I charge you to mingle our ashes and bury us together, which I thought, very much was symbolic of just the relationship that they had had throughout the book and, wanting to remain together even in death.
Excellent. Anything else before we turn the mic over to Brendan?
Nope.
You're up.
All right. So I guess I'm the first one who was not very familiar with the whole Greek world. So, I mean, I've heard of Achilles before. I've heard of some of these characters before. I am sure in some point of time I had to do some school project on one of these stories, but I definitely kind of went in completely blind. I had actually been wanting to read this book for probably the past year, but had completely avoided it because I feel like the reputation it had was kind of like a gut punch type book, which I did not get that from it. I enjoyed it, but I definitely wasn't like sobbing like a baby. It wasn't like, it didn't kill me, but there were definitely moments where I thought were beautiful. The writing I thought was very poetic. It really enjoyable. It was kind of framed as like this forbidden love story, but there really wasn't much forbidden. Like they were together pretty much the entire book, short of like a couple pages that quickly resolved itself. So I guess it was always just kind of there running in the background. I definitely agree with some of the things that you both said. Was definitely rooting for them to find an escape from that destiny that was there. I didn't think it was overly romantic, but I think it was touching. But I also towards the end I was like, okay, if you're gonna act like an ass, then go get killed. This is your fault. I can't feel that bad for you. So I kind of did expect to feel like that. not that I wanted anyone to die, but it was just like, what do you think is going to happen? You're starting to fight now. You're not a fighter. You let him go fight. Like, is anyone surprised by what happened?
But
So,
he did better than I thought he was going to do, though.
well, yeah, but still, like, come on,
It-
the whole hubris thing, like,
Mm-hmm.
It was
took them both
very-
down.
It was very drawn out to then end in just bad decisions. I agree.
Right. So, I mean, yes, I was touched at the end. There was one point which I misread, and I had created this whole storyline off of what I misread when they told Achilles, like, they're like, go mourn Prince Achilles, but I read it as Prince Patroclus. Dear God, I can never do this right. And I was like, oh my God, did they give him posthumously his title back because he was a brave fighter? I'm like, oh no, I just reread it wrong. So I was like, that was the touching moment, and it wasn't. So I had to kind of regroup there. I also thought Briseis would have had a little bit more impactful ending. Like, she went away, and I kind of thought maybe she was going to want to come back and make sure their ashes were together and his name, like, but no, she just went and probably died.
She got harpooned.
Yeah, she got shot with or not shot. I guess they threw
Spear.
Yeah.
spear. Yeah.
It was a proud death, so I guess you can look at it that way. But I kind of thought that was a missed opportunity, and maybe it's just I like tidy endings where things all go perfectly, even if everyone is dead. But
The romance reader in you.
and
I agree. But that gets into, I know Mike J is going to ask us about our feelings towards the ending, so I'll reserve.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I agree.
as far as quotes go, because I feel like you guys have said very similar things to what I thought. I just kind of went with like some of the things that really stuck out for me. But for quotes, and this is definitely the sappy romantic-y reader in me, was when he died, all things swift and beautiful and bright would be buried with him, which I was like, yes, that was an amazing quote. Loved it. Made me feel things. So I liked that.
Anything else?
No.
All right. So I guess it's my turn. I enjoyed it. I think I threw it a 4-star rating. I think it was a little bit of a roundup, but I enjoyed it. I thought the pacing was really well done in the novel. I thought her writing style was pretty well received. I think she definitely has a great skill of developing and spinning a story. I think I share a lot of the same sentiments with some of the issues with the book. I do think not having a recent familiarity with the Greek storyline helped, I think, with that speed of the book, because I think unlike maybe Lynn or Kimberly, where you knew was going to happen, or like you had like your own like ideas already, like I was kind of going in kind of blind, maybe not as blind as Brendan, but just knowing something of what the story is going to be. But I did enjoy it. I will go over some things I did not enjoy. I think I'm disappointed Brendan didn't bring this up. We did look up this after, and it was a true item in the story, but it was kind of weird with all these names. There was a Jason. And I'm like,
That's actually a very Greek name.
I know,
Yeah.
but it just doesn't fit with all the other names.
I think it just doesn't fit because it's so common now, unlike the others. But
Yeah, it is a name that was very popular.
But like,
Who would have thought
Argonaut.
Jason and Hector?
Yeah.
like even Hector, I'm like, okay, yeah, that sure, but I'm like, Jason. I did not like the concept of watered wine. Like, why would you want to water down your wine?
I agree, Mike. Full-heartedly agree.
Keeping in mind though, like historically, people weren't drinking wine like you drink wine today. It was because their water needed some kind of, alcohol to make it actually drinkable.
Yeah, shh. Let us drink.
Also, the author made this reference multiple times, referring to water as sweet. At one point, she said the water was sweet and fresh, and then the sound was pure and sweet as water. Does anyone else find water a sweet beverage?
Would we consider Hawaiian punch water?
If you're drinking a lot of spoiled water, yes, I would find clean water is sweet. Or as Kimberly said, if you add a little wine, that's a little sweetness.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's like a certain mineral that is in the water that would give it a sweeter taste.
Interesting. Maybe. Also, some scenes and I guess quotes I liked right off the bat when Patroclus is I think it's before he's exiled, when they have like that race and his father's like, that is what a son should be. I was like, ooh, that's rough.
Mhm.
Also, I'm gonna be jumping around a lot here. The scene when Patroclus is trying to get Achilles to help Briseis and not give her over, and he's just like, nope, it is what it is. And Patroclus says, I want to see his face broken with grief and regret. I want to shatter the cold mask of stone that has slipped down over the boy I knew. I was like, ooh, that's a rough turning point right there.
Mhm. That's
They
when I
did,
was really mad.
they did do a lot of growing together.
Yes. That is one thing I'll say about the story. It didn't do a great job distinguishing the time frames. Like years at some point were just like a page was a year. Like I like when a book like kind of gives you like when you start a new chapter, it kind of gives you like a timestamp almost. It was hard sometimes to figure out how old they were in certain chapters.
Yeah, because the the war lasts 10 years.
But I also feel like we skipped a lot of years of the war where they
I do
entered the
too.
war
Mhm.
and then it was, oh, we've been at war for years and years and years. I would have liked more plot and more just struggle beyond just kind of figuring things out between them. Although I do think she did a very good job of having that struggle with your emotions that you go through during puberty.
Is this a young adult novel?
I don't think so.
Because like half of it takes place in that time frame, but then obviously half of it is more on the adult spectrum. So like I was trying to figure it out, but I'm like, okay, maybe that's why like it's not a short book, but like if she had added more like detail to those years, like it would become a pretty hefty book pretty fast. But if it was a young adult book, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Usually those kind of lean towards the shorter side of the spectrum of reading, but I don't know. I just felt like there's gaps that could have been filled.
Do we know how old he was when he was cross-dressing as the dancer? I still feel that whole storyline could have been completely ripped out and we could have had better fleshed out other areas, but
I think it was like later
Yeah,
teenage years, right?
I was getting like 16 vibes. Sorry, Kimberly.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think they were around 16 too, because I think by the time they actually get to Greece, they're 17. And then by the time the war is over, they're 27.
I'm not believing a 16-year-old looks like a woman wearing a dress if he's this muscly god-like person.
I also struggled with that.
I know 16 still looks pretty young to me, but that's me at almost 40. So
Well, I think it's a different 16 in real life. This is 16 like someone who's like godlike.
that's true.
Well,
And
I
I
think it
think
depends on the 16-year-old too, right? Like, because not everybody's growing up the same way, time frame, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen 16-year-olds that I'm like, they don't look 16, but then you see another one and you're like, they look 12. It really depends on the person.
But they were describing his muscles and like,
I know.
all right,
Yeah.
I feel like you can't look like a dainty woman, but also have these godlike muscles.
Agree.
maybe they covered up very well.
All
The
I
hair
could
of
honestly
women.
picture during those chapters was the episode of American Dad when Roger was stuck. Was it
Yes,
Iran or Saudi Arabia? I
Saudi
think it was Saudi
Arabia.
Arabia. And that's what I was picturing. And it was killing me. And I think maybe that's why I couldn't take those chapters as seriously as others. But I was just like, that's all I could think of.
And to explain why those chapters were in there, the author, because I've read other things by her, spoiler for the rest of the conversation, but she does stick very closely to the source material. So she was trying to get all of the major mythological events in Achilles' life into this book. And part of that was talking about his marriage and being tricked by his mother and so on and so forth.
Interesting. I'll finish up my last few quotes. One I really liked was, "Those seconds, half seconds that the line of our gaze connected were the only moment in my day that I felt anything at all."
Oh, that just sends shivers down my spine.
I forgot who said this to Odysseus. It was like, "And perhaps you should get some new stories so I don't fucking kill myself with boredom." And I'm like, oh, haven't we all been there at one point?
Yeah, I feel like if anyone else had to read Odysseus in high school, it was like 7 months of Odysseus.
And that was a rough 7 months. Lynn's like, "I loved it."
I love Greek mythology.
And then my last one that kind of made me go, whew, was when Achilles' son comes and finds Hector's wife and child. And it goes, "He plucks the child from her arms and dashes his head against the stone of the walls so hard the skull shatters like rotten fruit." I was like, oh, he needs to die. That's rough. And then he dies. Spoiler alert. So, Lynn, you said you've read other things from the author.
I have. Circe. I read it a few years ago, actually, probably like a couple decades ago now that I'm thinking about. I think I read it in my 20s. Again, love Greek mythology, loved that book. The author's books tend to be very detailed and deep. Not a light read by any means, but it certainly feeds the soul. Just to borrow Kimberly's comments, it's very lyrical. It's very flowery. So I have read things from her before, was happy to read this, and I will likely continue to find things from her to read. She's thorough, she's interesting, she's descriptive, and her stories are engaging from start to finish while also being educational. I bet you never knew this much about Achilles. Certainly not how beautiful his hair was, at least.
Brendan, will you read anything else from the author?
I would. I don't think I'd look for it. Like, I'm not gonna like go on Libby and see what else is available. But if someone's like, "Hey, read this book," I wouldn't not read it.
But you want something a little more fluffy in between.
Oh yeah, no, I needed to read, a silly, cheap, romancy type thing after it just to get my speed back up.
Balance it out.
Exactly.
Kimberly?
So, yes, eventually I will because I have Circe sitting on my shelf. When that will happen, I don't know. But eventually I will read Circe.
I recommend it for like a really long flight. You can get super deep into it, not get interrupted by it. I have a toddler, so now my flights are only interruptions, but if you can have a flight by yourself, highly recommend starting it then.
Well, Kimberly, if you go to India for work, you have your book lined up.
There we go.
Yeah, I think I'll pick up Circe at some point. I think, like I was joking with Brendan's thoughts, that I think I will need to space out with something a little more of a quick read, but I think I did enjoy this book enough where I would read more from the author. Did you find the ending satisfying, Lynn?
So I know we've said this a few times, but I was certainly familiar with how the story of Achilles goes. So I wasn't really sure how she was going to finish it when Patroclus's death leads to Achilles' death, because we're seeing it from Patroclus's point of view. Nor did I really kind of know how she was going to handle the end of the war from there. So I kept hoping for some sort of twist or a way for them to have their happy ending together. She did manage to stick the landing and keep the story going through the main character's death, which is certainly a different point of view than what I'm used to reading. It really says something that in order to escape their fate, that the tragedy that was before them and really find their happy ending. They really had to just exit this reality and end up in eternity together. It's shocking to me that the happy ending came from everyone dying. So weirdly uplifting. It was definitely a chance to get what you want after death.
Kimberly?
So for a hot minute there, I wasn't sure how it was going to end either, because I'll be honest, similar to like what Lynn was saying, I was familiar with, the fact that obviously neither one of them were making it out of this alive, but I wasn't prepared for how everyone else treated Patroclus. We're all probably butchering this guy's name, even though I listened to the audiobook to try to make sure I was pronouncing it right, and it didn't help. But anyway, like, I got very annoyed with Achilles' mom. I got annoyed especially with the son. Oh my gosh, we didn't even talk about him yet, or at least not in detail, I don't think, unless I was, not paying attention. What a piece of work he was. And to like intentionally try to like keep them apart because he wanted, I don't even know what his goal was, honestly, other than to just be an absolute jerk. But
To be a bigot.
basically, I think, yeah. But yeah, like waiting to see like what was going to happen, because you had this soul just sort of like waiting to be able to have peace, right? I think it was it was it was very poetic for the mother to finally like admit, I think, to herself that at some point she needed to really be a mother, and by that I mean put the feelings of her son before her own, and to finally give them like the peace and the ability to be together, in death, in the afterlife, which was good to me because I feel like that gave some character growth to her, and she was very like hot and cold the whole time, right? You didn't know, did you like her? Did you hate her? Sometimes she'd do something you didn't expect her to do. So like to see her sort of character arc through it, I appreciated that from the ending.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like that
Mm.
take. Thetis was very complex.
Brendan?
I mean, basically exactly the same. I was absolutely cheering for that kid to die, and
Same.
I wish it was a bit more of a violent thing that we got to experience somehow. We weren't. It still happened. I'm happy he's dead. I was expecting when Patroclus died that we were going to end up in like the Achilles point of view or something. I had no idea how she was going to do it as well. So I was surprised it wasn't, but I didn't dislike what she did. So I was happy with that. I was happy with how, the, in my opinion, made the right decision at the end. But no, I definitely, the ending definitely held up for me.
And I agree with most of what was said. I think the son coming and having such a short experience in the war, like it seemed like he died like a month after arriving. It was like cool. Like
Not
I
soon enough.
yeah, but it was good. Like he only had like that one bit of glory and then was killed. I also thought we're gonna go into Achilles' perspective when Patroclus died, so I was kind of expecting that. I don't know which one I would have liked better. I always like when you get like a dual perspective, so maybe I would have liked to see that for at least a chapter or two, but I think I'm fine with the ending. All right, so let's move on to the bullshit portion of the podcast. We have two.
Wait, do we want to talk actors?
Oh, we can talk actors. I don't have any. Lynn, go.
So I noticed that I picked much older actors, so we'll just have to age them back for these roles. But for Achilles, I picked Chris Hemsworth because he's got that kind of golden godlike beauty to him. He's so beautiful, he could be a woman. To Brendan's earlier point. Patroclus, I was actually thinking more like a Penn Bagley, kind of that like attractive but skinny, definitely not a fighter, a little bit awkward, but like something about him is just very captivating. He was the main character of You, if anyone needs to know or
Which would be a
needs some
complete
sort of
opposite
reference.
character.
Yes. I mean, still a murderer.
Yeah, murder.
Then Thetis, I got absolute Angelina Jolie vibes. Something about that like otherworldly beauty and yet also danger and something just kind of, I don't know, snake-like sinister. Like I think she could pull it off. I think she could do a really good job.
And Brendan's
What?
like, yeah, I hated her character and I hate Angelina Jolie.
I do love that she chose her son's joy in the end. She chose his happy ending rather than her expectations. It was a little redemption arc. And then Brestius, I was thinking more like an Olivia Munn, kind of that like exotic but girl next door approachable beauty. And that's all I got for actors.
Now, I know Kimberly doesn't usually cast people. Are you going to prove me wrong this week?
No, because honestly, even if I thought about actors, I'd have a hard time like not thinking of all the people that played them in Troy, the movie. So, yeah, I can't.
Which his mother was played by Angelina Jolie.
Oh,
Interesting.
never saw it, so that good to know.
I also watched Troy, Kimberly, and I saw Odysseus was being advertised as I was reading this book, so I'm probably going to watch that as well.
If you guys have not seen Troy, you're missing Brad Pitt in his prime. Like, you should really go watch that movie.
I saw it when it first came out, but that was like 20 years ago at this point.
I think we saw it together.
We probably did. I think that was high school.
Yeah. Yeah, that was back when Brad Pitt, I could watch him and enjoy him. Now he's just such a terrible, I'll stop there. But it kind of ruined him for me.
Brendan, any actors?
So I did have a hard time with the casting, mostly because for the majority of the book, they were so young and I'm feeling my age and I'm like, I can't think of people who are really young. So if like I was going to cast it in like ages ago, like maybe I could think of some younger actors. The only one I could think of was Thetis, which was I did do Angelina Jolie.
Yes.
And I had looked on, and I did this after I was struggling. I don't know if anyone's heard of like the MyCast website where people can vote on who to cast. It's like a fan casting of movies, books, anything. And I was actually pretty impressed with who they had when I looked at it a little while back. Now they have like heated rivalry casts that are just kind of winning a lot of these. So that kind of knocks out before. But some of the casts that they had, I didn't know who they were, but I was pretty impressed with how I'm like, okay, yeah, I could definitely see that.
I never checked out that website before. I'll have to check that out.
It seems like an easy way to cheat on our homework for
Sure
Jane's
does.
podcast.
It sure does. I might have some the next time I'm on, Mike.
And we'll all know where you got it from.
It's like, oh my God, we all got the same actors and actresses.
Great minds.
All right. So moving on to the bullshit portion of the podcast. Our first topic is, what is your Roman Empire? And I'm going to say that I did not know what this term was, and Brendan made fun of me. I guess it was a popular TikTok trend in like 2023. That was before I was on TikTok. So for our listeners who do not know, it's like that one thing that you like randomly think about almost daily. And for this instance, I asked the group here, what is that one thing for them? And it could be either something long-term or something of recent. And so I will start with Lynn.
So mine is probably long-term. Greek mythology is my Roman Empire. I got super into it in middle school, those awkward years where you are trying to figure out who you are, what your interests are. Was also the years of Xena and Hercules for my generation. So I glommed on hard to that. Really just the most awkward you could possibly get for that period of time. And then we continued to do a unit on it in high school. And then when I went to college, I actually some of my electives for my degree, I picked up, again, just Greek mythology. It's in a lot of pop culture and present day, but I feel like that answer is kind of a cop-out. So I'll give a secondary answer. Probably my Roman Empire really has to do with my New England roots, especially these days, just really being aware of how it has shaped my outlook and my priorities, certainly my opportunities, and how I think and empathize with the world. It's definitely been shaped by being raised and continuing to live in New England.
Kimberly?
Well, before I share my Roman Empire, I just want to say shout out to Xena because I loved Xena too. So great show.
Yeah, so good.
My Roman Empire, this is probably going to come as no shock to Mike, is travel. I think about where I'm going to go, when I'm going to go. Do I have a trip booked? When can I book it? And then when I do have a trip booked, I'm looking forward to the trip and counting down the days. So pretty much 24/7 in my brain is travel.
What trips do you have planned?
And that is the saddest part right now because I don't have a single trip planned right now, which is making me feel a little like unwell. I
Brendan's
don't
gasp.
even I don't even know what
Gasp.
I know. I am very much struggling. So I have multiple different friends who I have talked about different trips for this year with, but nobody has like confirmed with me yet. So on the table have been, though again, nothing officially booked, Scotland in the fall.
Ooh.
And then in the summer, I'm hoping to have a second chance to go on a trip that I should have gone on in 2020, but of course, COVID. And that was going to go to Germany, Austria, Slovakia, Hungary, and one more. What am I forgetting? There's a fifth one that I'm forgetting. But
That sounds
basically,
absolutely amazing, though.
yeah, I mean, it was going to go to Munich and Vienna and Prague and Budapest and so Czech Republic. I think that was the other one
Yeah.
I forgot as I started naming cities. Yeah, so it was going to be a phenomenal trip. So I have talked about, a second chance for that one with the friend I was supposed to go on that trip in 2020, but we have not confirmed it yet. So I can't say with certainty I'm going to go, but I'm really, really hoping.
How long of a trip is that?
Like 10 days.
That's a lot of travel in 10 days, but that just means you're going to see a lot and do a lot, and you can sleep when you get home.
Well, keeping in mind too, like when you get to Europe, especially those smaller countries like that, they're all so close together. It's not as much as you would think. I think we take for granted living in the US just how big the US is in comparison to a lot of Europe, honestly.
So Mike and B, I know you guys travel a ton. What do you guys have coming up?
We're going to St.
St.
Martin at the end of the
Lucia
month.
or St. Martin?
Yep. And then we're going to the French Riviera at the end of May into June. And then we're doing a French river cruise from Paris to Normandy in October.
I love that.
I already miss Paris.
Yeah,
We
not
are.
booked yet. We're looking at Italy again next year.
Ooh. We are doing Mexico in a few days, followed by skiing in Canada, Tremblant, in a month. And this winter, because we saw Brendan and Mike's incredible travels, my husband has said loudly he wants to go to Switzerland. I kind of also want to do, not Paris, but skiing in France because it looks amazing. So if I do that, I'm going to be bothering you guys, Mike and Brendan, if you also wanted to go to Paris for Christmas. But that's
We would
that's
get
on its
murdered.
way. And then I am also, as this podcast is recording, that people are planning an Alaskan cruise, and I have been charged with inviting Mike and B on that Alaskan cruise in 2027.
Are you trying to fill up our vacation? Ooh.
Evidently.
Alaska. Alaska is beautiful. You should go.
I've never been, and it's August, so it should be sunny and beautiful and flowers and glaciers. I can't wait. All right. Sorry. Go on with Roman empires.
Brendan, Roman Empire.
So one was going to be traveling, so I won't do the exact same thing as Kimberly did, but completely with you there. Always planning like a year in advance for our vacations. The only other thing, which was also foreshadowed earlier, is living in France. I would love for us to have a place in France. We actually have our life's largest regret, which was when we were in Sancerre the last time with our close friends. We are the winos, the four of us. We were browsing in the center of the village, and there was all these real estate ads, and one was for it was like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. It was like 40,000 euros, and we were all like, we should do this, and then we didn't, and now even over there, real estate goes up, so it's 10 times the cost, but that would have been an amazing thing to do, and I just love it there. I've been to France many times. I always have the absolute best time. They are such friendly people. The architecture is beautiful. The food's amazing. It's just, there's just anything and everything about France, I think, is just wonderful.
Agree wholeheartedly. I love France. I was just in Paris in October and I already missed it.
Mm.
Well, by association, my Roman Empire is going to sound really boring. So
Not golf, is it?
no, definitely not golf, but
Running?
no, but it's going to be very trendy and on point right now. But it's heated rivalry. I can't stop thinking about that show and those books. I read the 3 books before watching the show. That the main characters were in the 3 books, and I think it was a combination of reading the books, then going ahead and binging all 6 episodes. So the constant TikToks I see all day long because everyone else is also their Roman Empire, to having a playlist I have on my phone with songs from the show, and the name of the playlist is a fire emoji and a hockey stick. I started rewatching it because I can't get it in my head, and I thought, might as well just lean into it. But I do
When did you start rewatching it?
I've been watching it at nighttime when you've been sleeping.
That's rude.
Why? Did you want to rewatch it?
I probably would.
Well, I'll stop and you can catch up.
Do you see how I'm treated, ladies?
I can't believe the audacity myself.
I am.
Just saying.
We literally just watched it. But I do think a combo of the show and the book is already affecting the draft of the book I'm working on, because before I would keep any sort of like sex scenes like behind closed doors. But I think now I'm more leaning into like a direct couple of scenes in the book. So
Ooh, I can't wait.
get ready. It's going to be inappropriate, and sorry to family and some friends when they read it.
Friend.
Some friends, yeah. Some friends are like, yeah, let's read it.
Go.
I'm glad I pushed you because you were kind of slacking, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this if you're not gonna get on board, so hurry up.
Yeah, that was true. I was like, we need to finish Stranger Things, and I read the books. He's like, if you don't read the books within this next week, I'm going to start watching the show. And then I read the 3 that are involved in the show.
Because some people, when they find out things are getting adapted and it's a topic you may be interested in, they actually read early so they're ready.
Yeah.
Just want to point out, Brendan, you are definitely the other half of Mike J's soul.
What do you consider a red flag Roman Empire, Kimberly?
Oh, why'd you start with me? I struggled with this. I didn't know how to answer this question.
If you don't have an answer, that's fine.
I'm sure I can think, have somebody else go first and maybe something will come to me, because I really was struggling with what to answer.
Lynn, go.
So I put down Norse-based mythology, because Norse-based mythology can be really cool. There's a lot of cool people that follow it. I certainly married a 100% Swedish guy. Half my kid is Swedish, very, very Viking. But it could be indicative of some white supremacy beliefs. So if someone that I know is super into Norse-based mythology, I get kind of the ick, right? I need to kind of have them prove to me that they're not, they like it because of the magic elements and not the white power elements.
Interesting. Brendan?
So I will offend some people with this, and I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum, but Disney adults, people
Yeah.
who make Disney, and I'm not saying you can't go to Disney as an adult. Like, I'm not saying that at all,
No, I
especially if
know
you
what
have
you
kids,
mean.
ideally. But like, there are some people who make Disney their personality, like 24/7, and that to me is just a bit traumatic.
The people without kids who go to Disney every year.
Yeah, it's a bit
Yeah.
it's a bit much. There was someone that we used to work with who talked about how he would go by himself as an adult male, and just he's like, I'm like, oh, this just sounds really creepy. Like, I feel like this is the day I'm gonna think back to when, Channel 30 is like, how did you know he was molesting kids? I'm like, well, like, it just felt like that. Just hearing it just felt wrong. And very nice person. I don't believe this person was doing anything inappropriate. It just sounds wrong.
I'm going to agree with you there. I had a coworker, or this was when I was very early in my career. So she was like 23, 24, married to like a 45-year-old. They had their honeymoon at Disney. Every time they took a vacation, it was Disney. It was really uncomfortable.
All right. I kind of third this whole conversation. Wasn't the one I listed, though. I wanted to go a really obvious route with one of mine, and I'm going to say it without going into detail and then go into the one I have detail on. MAGA is just the one that was the
Yeah.
obvious
Yeah.
red flag. But the other one is people who peaked in high school, and it's their whole personality and all they talk about. Like, you can tell
Oh,
by looking at their
yes.
social media, it's still everything they're about. Like, some books and movies really lean into this concept harder than it actually happens. But like, I know for a fact there are many people that Lynn and I went to high school with where you can see it, just look at their social medias, that like, this is who they are and this is their identity.
They never branched out.
And like, for some reason, like, it's just they love it. And I think both Lynn and I are like, I don't see that, but okay.
Not to
Okay.
yuck anyone's yum.
I'm going to bounce off of this because I came up with one as I was listening to everybody. I think my red flag is anyone who sort of sits there, right? Like they don't learn anything new, they don't better themselves, they don't grow, they don't, you know what I mean? Like they just
Hmm.
embody like this is who I am and who I'm going to be forever, and there's no growth, right?
That's
That's
kind of
what
the opposite of your Roman Empire of travel.
Yep.
exactly. I have learned so much. I feel like I am so much more empathetic. Like when you, especially if you go and travel to a third world country, which I have also done. I haven't just traveled to Paris, right? Like I've traveled to third world countries too. And when you get to witness those things in person, and and it makes you appreciate how good you actually have it when you get back home.
A broader perspective is always an advantage.
Exactly. So, like, anybody who just sits and stews in what they are, right, and doesn't grow, not my cup of tea.
So, what is your green flag, Roman Empire, then?
Books. Anybody who's into books.
Lynn, green flag.
Anyone that has a focus that's more social or community driven. So people that enjoy cooking for a group, mixing drinks, planning events, planning get-togethers. Basically, that tells me that you're just focused on improving other people's days, you're inclusive, and you enjoy creating those moments of joy.
Brendan?
This was harder for me than the red flag one, but
You don't have one?
I don't have one.
That's fine. I'll do mine then. Just like people who just like think of dogs and cats all day long. Like they think about the dog they saw when they went running in the morning. They think about the cat that's like what they're doing at home, like when the people are away, or the 17 TikToks they sent someone about alpacas that day. Like people who just like think about cute animals all day.
Or
So you're
It's
green flagging
empathy.
yourself?
Yes, me.
Dinosaur.
No, but it's empathy. I think all of us are basically sort of saying the same thing of you have to think about others.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant.
Kimberly, bookish Roman Empire.
Throne of Glass.
You just think about it all the time.
I do. I like there were 8 books. Last book was almost 1,000 pages, and that last book just took me through all of the emotions. I was, yeah, it was, I was a sobbing mess, and at the end of it, I'm like, I'm not even the same person after reading this. It's one of those like you got to like trust the process though, because the earlier books are a little slow on the uptake, setting everything up because there's like world building and character introduction that's happening, but the growth from like the beginning to the end, it's a journey, and it's great. I think about it all the time.
I
Well,
also
there's the
really
plate.
enjoyed I also really enjoyed Throne of Glass. I agree with you. Just the evolution of her books, her plots, her writing style. It drags you in kicking and screaming, and you just gotta love it.
So
Yep.
is that also your bookish Roman Empire?
No, my bookish Roman Empire is actually Dragon Riders of Pern. It's written by Anne McCaffrey. I read it when I was a teenager. It was actually written in 1967. And the reason why it's my bookish Roman Empire is just because of how hugely influential it's been on the modern day fantasy world writing. So the whole thesis of the book is that this is a world with a feudal society of dragon riders. Dragon riders are chosen by their dragons and they have a deep psychic link. If one dies, they both die. So
Fourth Wing.
that sounds a lot like Fourth Wing, but it started as a short story that then became a series, and the start of it was just phenomenal. It became very dry after that, but there's so many books with themes that are now just, I don't want to say copied, but borrowed from for so many of these kind of romantasy type books that are being written today. A lot of them have just the threads of their stories from this original series. So that's why that's my bookish Roman Empire.
Excellent. Brendan?
So mine is definitely going to show just how simple I am, but there's something
You're
about
never simple.
Wait for
there
it.
is something about Emily Henry and her books that just make me smile. I am a sucker for a happy ending love story rom-com. So like Book Lovers is my favorite book of hers, and I just have a stupid ass grin on as I'm reading it, and I absolutely love deeper books. That's not the only thing I read, but I will
But that's
go back
so
to those all the
legit.
time.
That's so legit though, because there's so much bad and negativity in this world that when you find
Yeah.
something that just makes you smile and gives you those little feelings of happiness, like hang on to that. 100%.
Yeah. So mine is kind of like Brendan's, but like the complete opposite. Like mine's like when I finish reading like a Jeff Zentner or Taylor Jenkins Reid book, and like if it's super sad, it just sticks with me. Like who doesn't want to be like randomly sitting there watching the NFL playoffs? Do you remember that book that just utterly devastated you and just sort of like randomly tearing up? Like what a sad scene that was. So
I have to like prepare and be warned when I'm about to approach a book like that. Like I will read it, I will enjoy it, but I have to be mentally prepared because sometimes I'm not in the right frame of mind to deal with that.
yeah, Brendan's still holding out on some that I've recommended to him just because I think he knows that they're going to be devastating.
I
Yeah,
am
atmosphere is it's coming soon. It just I have not been in the mood to be destroyed. Like I'm gonna do after the holidays. I don't want to be like dying.
You don't have
there,
the emotional bandwidth for it right now.
Exactly.
there's enough to emotionally destroy you in the headlines right now.
Ugh,
Like, why
yes.
why
Yeah.
have it in your hobbies as well? I get it.
All right, so speaking about terrible hobbies, let's move on to toxic reading habits. What is one or two of your reading habits that you're not proud of? Kimberly.
So I'm going to flip this a little bit because I don't know that it's that I'm not proud of it. I think it's more there are times where I wish I wasn't this way and could change it.
And
And that is being a mood reader because I wish that I could just pick up any book that I know that I will like and I will enjoy and just read it at any point and like and enjoy it. But I can't. There are certain times where I'm like, I'm just not in the mood for this genre. I'm just not in the mood for similar to Brendan. I don't have the emotional bandwidth for, one that's going to make me cry today. I know I will ultimately love the book, but I just can't do it today. Like, I wish I could just pick up a book and, every single one that I know that I will like and read it at any point and just read it and enjoy it and move on. But I can't.
Brendan?
So mine is going to be how strict of a Kindle reader I am. I don't listen to audiobooks. I don't read paper books. It's got to be on my Kindle. It's I, for some reason when I read on a Kindle, I just get in the zone. And I have read paper books before. I like to make a joke that I can't read paper books because it dries my hands out. But it's just I prefer reading on a Kindle. It flies for me in a much better speed. I would love to be able to listen to audiobooks, but usually if I have to listen to that, I need to be like totally focused. I can't be, you know, working or doing other things, so that doesn't work for me. And I suppose if it comes down to it, I could read a paper book, but I would be lazy and just buy it on the Kindle anyway.
I would say I've also helped him out with this poor habit because literally a book I bought him for Kindle for Christmas was sitting in my office. But I knew it's been there for 2 years and he wasn't going to read it because it was a physical book. Lynn.
So my kind of bad toxic habit is that I stop reading. I don't finish books. And there's so many books that I've read to like halfway through or 2/3 through. The one that I tried to read for Christmas, for example, where I just, if it hasn't grabbed me, I'm so quick to just move on because there's so many other options. There's so many books that are on my to read list that it's just so easy for me to just move away. And like often I don't even have a good reason. It's just something else took my attention. Something else was just a bit more compelling. And so I just leave a book and never return to it.
Interesting. Mine is I have probably close to 300, if not more, books on my shelf. And I'll always find a way to choose a book on Libby or Hoopla that I don't own. Like I'll always be like, ooh, this one sounds interesting. Doesn't help my physical TBR at all, but it's fine because eventually I'll get around to reading those 300 books. But yeah, I'm always like looking for something on like Brendan, like I usually read like in bed and I'll do it like on my phone or Kindle, and it's never something I have on my shelf. It's always something random. So I need to
Oh,
get
I
better
can
about
relate to that one too.
Yes. You and I share that awful habit. Is there a toxic reading habit you side eye others for having? I'll go first. And because I think I'm going to get some hate from someone on this call and some of our other guests, knowing you have a full ass TBR shelf and choosing to constantly reread books you've already read. Read something new. Does anyone want to admit who it is in the call I'm talking about? Kimberly.
It's like, I don't think it's me.
No, I knew exactly who it was. He's been like, I don't know what I did to him. Apparently, I am like on the bad list today because he's calling me out left and right.
Well, it's only because I know things that led to the topics. But
Fair.
you should listen to more new audiobooks instead of re-listening to old ones.
Listen, there
I
is
will
such a thing as comfort listen or comfort read, okay? Just like people have comfort movies.
Okay, I'll
Sometimes
caveat
you
this.
just want the
No,
familiar.
before you caveat, I want to know whose side I need to be on here. So what specifically are you rereading so I can decide if I agree with it or not.
My favorites. Like I've probably reread The Dead Romantics. I couldn't even tell you how many times. Love that book.
I'm okay with this then.
Thank you.
All right, actually,
Yeah,
here,
I have some comfort reads.
how many times do you reread it?
I mean, some of my favorite books I will reread every couple of years, but the vast majority of what I read is new books.
All right, Kimberly, I'll give you a cop out to you will no longer be side-eyed if you count
Thank
it
you.
towards your Goodreads goal.
Listen, you do your Goodreads goal how you want to do your Goodreads goal, and I'll do mine the way I want to do mine.
Side-eye
Fighting
stance.
words.
I reread a book for the first time. It was an Emily Henry book, mostly because our friend Sarah, who read it, didn't love it as much as I think she should have. So I was like, maybe I was wrong. It was my first Emily Henry book. We're like, no, it holds up. But I definitely counted that towards my goal.
As you should have.
Just choose to do only new books for
Do you
my
want
goal.
do you want to target me with a toxic side-eye? Or do you have something else? Kimberly.
I don't. I was gonna say people like who like judge people who read other genres is kind of toxic, right? Like back to the yucking somebody's yum.
Like how
Yeah,
romance
I
gets
agree
like a
with
bad
that.
romance gets a bad rep.
Exactly. Like romance books are great. Like character development, they make you feel all warm and fuzzy. They give you all the vibes. And listen, this is coming from somebody who reads everything. I read science fiction, I read fantasy, I read historical fiction, like you name it, I'll read it. But I get irritated when people like turn down their nose at like romance books and consider it like not reading. Like, no,
These are probably the same people who don't travel.
Agree.
probably. Fair assessment. Yeah. I could say reading more than one book at a time, Mike J. That could be toxic, but I do that.
No, I read like 3 at a time.
Yeah, I was like, I
Yeah.
can't really say that. That's the only other thing that I can think of that he does that I'm like, I got nothing.
See, no, I agree with that though. I like to immerse myself in a story, and I can't do that if I'm listening to one, reading another. No, just one at a time.
So is that your side-eye habit, or do you have another one?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, see, Kimberly, he got me for you.
Thank you.
Lynn.
So mine is when people collect books with no intention on ever reading them. And it's one thing like if you're a fan and you're buying like the box set. So I know a lot of people really liked the Harry Potter books and they wanted to put display of Harry Potter books in their library. And that's fine because you've read the book before. But if you're just buying books as decor, I got to side eye that.
Oh, what about people who like flip them around backwards to show the pages and they're not like sprayed edges? They literally are buying them, to your point, to be decor with the pages out.
Yeah, I don't like that. Buy something to support an author.
Except not J.K. Rowling anymore.
No, God, no. Yeah.
And so, what are you doing in 2026 to improve your reading habits, Brendan?
So I am decided I did the Kindle Unlimited, 3 months for for $1 or whatever it was, and I was trying to figure out if I should keep it or not, and I am going to keep it. I apparently in my Kindle Unlimited yearbook, I was in the top 7.92% of Kindle Unlimited readers.
Wow. Congrats.
But I do feel like I am getting my money's worth from it, and I want to increase what I read, so I didn't overdo my Goodreads goal for this year. But I do think that will kind of keep me on pace to just keep constantly reading.
Lynn?
So, my goal this year is to start reading more physical books. I've gone pretty much completely virtual. The Kindle app on my phone, especially, gets a lot of use. And I really just miss the smell and feel of real physical paper.
Kimberly?
I actually, similarly to Brendan, only a little different, I actually want to do a better job of using my Kindle Unlimited subscription because I don't think that I do a great job of reading enough through Kindle Unlimited.
Well, I
To a,
think part
like
I think part of that has to do with how many books you can take out with your Livy.
part of
Oh,
that.
that's right.
Yeah.
Is it you can have 25 holds in 10 out, or is it
Yeah, I can have 25 holds.
Amazing.
you only get
So
10 up
jealous.
here?
And I have 25 holds right now.
Not shocked.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned this before. My goal will just be to work on my physical TBR. My goal was 50 for the year. I've actually written 50 books on pieces of paper and put them in a container. So like when I need a book to pick, I'm just gonna randomly pick it out of there. And Kimberly, I know that would drive you crazy being a mood reader, where it's gonna be given to the fates of what book I'm gonna read.
Yeah, I could never.
But
He's going to be so cranky when he picks that first book, and it's going to be one he doesn't feel like reading. Oh, God help us all.
You're going to have to deal with it, Brendan. Sorry.
I'm gonna post on my writer account on Instagram, so there'll be accountability, so people will know what I'm reading. But I need to start working on some of my backlog of books before I go ahead and buy more books,
As long as they're not decor.
as long as they're not decor. All right, it is time for everyone's favorite segment, the rapid reaction segment. Each guest gets 6 topics, and let's give their immediate 1-word or 2 or 3-word reaction, depending on what it is. Sometimes you need more in a word. We're going to start with Kimberly.
Okay.
And some things are going to be options you have to choose from, and some things will be consistent amongst all 3 of you. So are you ready?
I think so. Let's go.
A whatchamacallit candy bar.
Yummy.
Would you prefer a city, beach, or wilderness vacation?
Beach.
Would you rather watch a 3-hour movie or 4 episodes of a show?
Oh, it depends.
Which one?
Oh,
Rapid fire. Come on.
movie.
Donuts or
What?
cupcakes?
Oh man, cupcakes.
Red, pink, orange, or yellow starbursts?
Pink. All day, every day.
Michael B. Jordan.
Ooh, lovely.
Lynn?
Yes.
Charleston shoes.
Delicious.
Wilderness, beach, or city vacation?
Beach, because that's what I'm doing next.
3-hour movie or 4 episodes of a show?
3-hour movie.
Donuts or cupcakes?
Cupcakes.
Red, pink, orange, or yellow starburst?
Pink. There's no other answer.
Red. Timothy Chalamet.
No opinion?
Brendan. Butterfingers.
Sticky but tasty.
City, beach, or wilderness vacation?
City.
Watch a 3-hour movie or 4 episodes of a show?
4 episodes of a show any day.
Donuts or cupcakes?
At this very moment, I could really go for a jelly donut, so I'm going to say donut.
Red,
Ooh, it's
pink.
almost punchki season.
It is. Red, pink, orange, or yellow starburst?
Red.
Thank you. Jacob Elordi.
Not too shabby.
Interesting. All right. Well, thank you.